Most adventure riders don't fail on routes like the Ozarks BDRX because of their skill. They fail because of small mistakes, wrong tires, bad planning, or pushing too hard too early. I just rode the entire Ozarks BDRX, and there are a few things that I could have gone sideways on pretty fast. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the biggest mistakes that riders make and how you can avoid them. On any adventure, it's important to plan for a slower pace the first day. For most riders, a trip like this is a once a year or even a once in a lifetime trip. Chances are you need a few hours in the seat to actually get comfortable again. So plan for that at the beginning. Most riders don't run into problems because the route is too hard. It's because they burn themselves out too early. Fatigue can happen quickly, and it can ruin a trip. For that reason, I always advise you to look at your first day like a warm-up. Just set a manageable pace and stick to it until you naturally begin to settle into the ride again. Once you're comfortable, go ahead and pick up the pace and start to push yourself more. But remember, most accidents happen on the first day because riders are just trying to get their legs under them again. Don't be a statistic for this one. This route is too good to miss it because you tried to be a hero on day one. Another mistake riders make is starting a trip like this on worn out tires, or they just choose the wrong tires altogether. The hard truth you need to hear is this: your tires matter a lot. The right tire selection builds confidence, and it lets you enjoy the trip so much more. This route has a lot of rocks, and if it's wet, there's going to be deep mud to contend with as well. For that reason, knobby tires are my preferred option. I ran this route on a Pan America with Anarchy Wild tires. My tires were not perfect when we started, so they're about 50% worn, I would say. About half of their life was used up. But by the end of this trip, I had several lugs missing, and those tires are shot now. So looking back on it, I wish that I would have started on a brand new set. Now, guys, I'm not a tire expert by any means, and you can find excellent review videos on YouTube for adventure bike tires. I'd recommend go out and watch some of those and get familiar with what options your specific bike has. Now, since I ride a Pan America, my options for aggressive off-road tires are limited, but mostly that's because of my 17-inch rear wheel. For a lot of adventure bikes out there that have an 18-inch rear, you can get more aggressive tires. And for this route, I would absolutely recommend it. Here are a few of my tire recommendations if they'll fit your bike. First and foremost, the Motaz Tractionator Rallies. It's a great all-around tire. Or even if you can fit it on your bike, the Desert HT tire would be a good option because of the mud on this route. The Anarchy Wilds were a good tire, but they need to be fresh for the loose gravel and mud. No matter what you choose, make sure they have good lug offset, and they can clear mud and debris because you're going to run into it on this route for sure. This route has a lot of slick ruts on the advanced section as well. So for that reason, you want to choose a tire that has good side grip. And a lot of times you have to shop specifically for a tire with side grip, or you're going to find yourself slipping that rear tire down into ruts, and you're going to spend a lot of time duck walking up and down hills. That's no fun. So if you have a favorite tire, drop a comment and let me know what you're running on your bike. I'd love to interact with you and kind of learn more about what you're riding on. Another big mistake riders make is poor planning for fuel range. Now, this is a must on this route, especially if you're taking a smaller bike, like less than 100-mile fuel range. Like I said earlier, I ride a Pan America, and my fuel range is roughly 200 to 230 miles. That means I can find fuel when I need it, right? Or I can afford a 30-mile detour to fill up if I'm really running low. but not every adventure bike has that luxury. And on our trip, a buddy of mine rode a KLX 300, and his fuel range was right at 100 miles. Planning fuel definitely mattered to him. This route has adequate fuel stops, and technically any size bike can make it to the next fuel if you follow the route as it was designed, but that's assuming that all the gas stations are open, which they are not. I was shocked on this trip to discover that many of these gas stations close certain days during the week, like Monday through Thursday. So stressing out about fuel can ruin the vibe of a trip, and it can add unwanted stress and put you in a position to make choices that really limit the fun and experience that you're having. So guys, just don't let lack of fuel be the reason you miss out on all this route has to offer. My advice is, when it comes to fuel, just play it safe, right? Especially if you have a smaller tank. Fill up at every gas station. Even if you're not even close to being empty, just top off. And then check the hours of operation for these gas stations, especially if you're planning on riding throughout the week. I can tell you this, if I was doing this route on a bike that had 100 mile or less fuel range, I think I would also take an extra gallon of fuel with me. But I also know what it's like to walk out of the woods because I ran out of fuel. Now, speaking of that, if you have a horror story related to an empty fuel tank, drop that in the comment section and let me know that I'm not alone in that experience. The next mistake that riders make in the Ozarks is underestimating the weather. This area is full of extremes when it comes to weather. During the summer months, it's dry and can be dangerously hot. During the winter months, it's very cold. And pretty much every other time of the year, it's wet, really wet. Dry conditions on this route produce dust, and a lot of it. So if you're riding the Ozarks BDRX and it hasn't rained in 2 weeks, you probably ought to bring like a neck gaiter or have really good eye protection, especially if you're going to be riding it in a group. The gravel roads on this route produce almost like a fog that is going to make you reduce your speed and immediately want to take a shower when you get to camp. And the heat on this route is also a real consideration. I rode in April, so the high was only 80 during the day, and it was bearable, but I still chose to wear like layered gear, and I left my bulky adventure jacket at home. Now I can tell you this, in July, you're going to want breathable jerseys and a helmet with excellent airflow. During the rainy months, the dust isn't a challenge, but the mud is. Here is the reality. If you're not getting coated with a layer of rock dust, you're probably going to be covered in a layer of mud from the relentless clay and the loose dirt sections that are now wet. See, each season has its own set of challenges on this route, and that's all part of the fun. Right? Planning for the conditions you're going to encounter makes you a better traveler and ultimately a more competent adventure rider. Just don't underestimate the weather on this route, or you're going to be disappointed, possibly even worse. See, the water crossings during high rainfall can go from a fun and exciting treat to a potential life-threatening situation quickly. If you purchase the Butler map for the Ozarks BDRX, there's actually a QR code on that map where you can get real-time updates on local water levels. I'd recommend that you check that before you take off, and don't underestimate their warnings. Some of these water crossings are deep on normal water levels. They can wash your bike away when the water levels rise. So play it safe. If you're unsure, get off your bike and just walk it first. Remember, there's no shame in turning around and trying again another day. Mistake 5 is all about navigation. Now, this route requires the use of GPX tracks because there's so many turns. Most BDRs are like that anyway, so it's not a new thing. The mistake that you can make on this route, though, is relying on cell phone service to help you navigate. It won't work on this one, guys. The route is remote, and cell phones don't work most of the time. So if you rely on your phone to tell you where to turn, you're going to miss turns, and a lot of them. Turning around gets old, and it really cuts into your progress for the day. it can turn an 8-hour day into a 10-hour day. Trust me. As a rule of thumb, I always download the maps directly to my device, like my phone, before I leave on a trip. I also like to pick up a hard map of the route, carry in my tank bag, and the Butler maps, like I mentioned earlier, are a great option. It's a great reference also for like food and fuel and lodging, and it provides peace of mind in case something goes wrong with my electronic navigation. If you're riding with a group, make sure that more than one person has the route and is able to lead the ride. When I travel with a group, we generally alternate lead spots throughout the day anyway. That format works really well for us because it encourages every person on the trip to get the tracks and familiarize themselves with the route and the stops and stuff. So the more people that are able to lead, the better you'll be on a trip like this. The truth is, sometimes riders get separated, right? Sometimes the group takes different detours. On my recent trip to the Ozarks, I split off from the group to ride a couple hard sections by myself. I did that a couple times and then just joined back up with them on the main route. But if we didn't have multiple people with those tracks and they were able to lead, they would have had to follow me. But because we were prepared, right, we had navigation, the whole group had a better experience, and no one had to carry the burden of being the leader the entire trip. Now, I just mentioned that I broke off from the group to ride some alt-hard sections by myself. Here's a bonus tip for you. If you ride alone, always have a backup plan in case something goes wrong. Communication is key for success on a trip like this, and if you decide to take on some of the route by yourself, you should follow some guidelines for safety. First, clearly communicate where you're going to the group and set a specific meet point with them. Second, explain how long the section is for your solo expedition. That way, the rest of your crew knows roughly how long you should be on that trail. Lastly, you should always carry some sort of satellite device in case you have an emergency. A Garmin InReach works great for this, or if you have a newer iPhone, they have the satellite text feature, and I've used that a couple times, works great for me. The Ozarks BDRX isn't a ride that you need to fear, but it is a ride that you need to respect. And most of the challenges out there can be avoided with just a little bit of planning. If you get those things right, this route becomes one of the best rides you'll ever do. If you're looking for more content on the Ozarks BDRX, check out my full ride review video or my Ozarks BDRX playlist. And if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming content about this amazing experience. And in my next video, I'll take a deeper dive into the terrain of the Ozarks and try to answer the question, how hard is this route really? Until then, I want to encourage you to get out there and find your adventure.